Hi, welcome to Quietly Marketing, and today's episode is going to be Market Like Corinthian Leather. Now, today's episode was inspired by a speech that I saw from Craig Coffey about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, at a conference where he brought up this Corinthian leather, and the messaging behind it and the marketing strategy behind it was just really interesting to me. So that's what today's episode was inspired by. So in 1974, Chrysler cars were popular, but they certainly weren't competing at the top notch of car sales. And so what they needed was they needed a hook. They needed something different, something to make them stand out from the crowd and come with more sales. So they did a couple of things. So they had their models of cars, which was like the Imperial LeBron and the Cordoba. I'm not a car guy, so forgive me if any mispronunciations happen here. And they got a celebrity spokesman. All right, they got Ricardo Montalvo, and he, again, that last name is I might be pronouncing it wrong. Now, how you might know this guy, all right, there's a few different places you might know him. One is Fantasy Island. I was not a fan of the show, a little bit before my time, so that's not where I knew him from. Then there was Star Trek 2. He was Khan from Wrath of Khan, and what I know him from is from the Naked Gun movie as the main villain in that movie. But either way, he was a celebrity back in the day, and he had this very refined ad campaign with Chrysler, on the Cordoba. And during those commercials, he would use this phrase of, more or less, this is what he said. He said, "The thickly cushioned luxury of seats available even in soft Corinthian leather," and using terms like fine Corinthian leather. Now, this was a term that people had no idea what it was. People did not know what Corinthian leather was, but it sounded exotic, didn't it? When you hear that name, Corinthian leather, you start thinking of exotic places, even from Corinthia, from that's actually a place in Greece. You think of these exotic locations, and my God, this must be where leather is from, and it must be great. In fact, it was manufactured in Newark, New Jersey. Now, whether or not Corinthian leather was actually just a marketing play or was it actually a superior leather is a little out on it. To anger every teacher, I can cite Wikipedia, where it pretty much says it was a marketing ploy and there was nothing special about it. But either way, the type of leather was nothing special, but the name behind it was. And before that, people would, other car companies, when talking about leather, would use leather with vinyl or leather facing seats just to pronounce the leather. So there's nothing different. But using this phrase, Corinthian leather, really kind of stuck with people. It was something different and it sounded exotic, and it worked. All right, these cars were now playing in the top 5, they were getting like top 5 sales in the years 1974, 75, 76, 77. The sales went up because of this. Was it directly because of this campaign? I believe that it was. Partly because of the celebrity, the celebrity tie-in. The commercial was pretty good. It's very luxurious, very different, and the phrase itself just kind of made it stand out. People knew what it was. You search Corinthian leather, and there's topics, there's all sorts of forums and everything on this. This was a really big marketing campaign. So, why did it work? It worked because what it did was it created something different about the car. It made it stand out. And this is something that is incredibly important when it comes to marketing your brand or having an advertising campaign or marketing just a product. You have to find something that's different about your product, and you have to, not necessarily exploit, but you have to kind of push that difference. And now, we can be honest, a lot of products, a lot of services, and I love when I talk to clients sometimes and I say, so one of the most important questions I ask them, so what is your value proposition? What makes you different? And their answer sometimes, and this happens more often than not, is, well, we're not really different. That's not a good enough answer. You need to have something different. Okay, I'm not telling you to make up something different. I'm not telling you to make something lie, but find something within your company that is different and exploit that. So Corinthian leather was actually a thing. They decided to call it that, and that's how they decided to make themselves stand out. And if it actually turned out to be nothing different, that's a little bit of an ethical issue, but they were like, well, we have nothing different about our cars, so let's make something different about our cars. That's an awesome strategy to have. If you currently don't have anything different, find something to be different about, okay? And so let's look at some companies here and some, looking at their, front of their website and what their value proposition is with regards to what makes them stand out, what is different about them. So you have MailChimp, company that helps you send out emails and email marketing campaigns, and theirs is send better emails, sell more stuff. I'm starting with not quite my favorite example. Do they actually send better email? Do they actually make you sell more stuff? Depends how you use it. Just like with any product, it depends how you do it. But it's a very strong thing that, hey, you're going to send better email with us, you're going to sell more stuff. It's a lot better email providers than MailChimp, certainly one of the more cheaper options. But they've decided to just make a stand, and that's what makes them different. Okay, now let's go to DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo, in case you don't realize it, is it's a search engine. And if you look in the value prop, you can immediately see what's different about it, okay? Which is a search engine that doesn't track you. All right, that's huge. Right now, a lot of people for the past years have real issues with the fact that Google can track you all the way through, and every single browser, every single search engine does this. DuckDuckGo doesn't. It doesn't track you. You're anonymous on this website, on the search engine. So they're exploiting that. They've made something different. If you're gonna make you kind of have to. Why on earth would you even try to make a search engine with Google just dominating it and the other two taking up, Bing taking up the rest of the space essentially? So you have to have something different about your product, and you have to make that front of center. And if you have anything to do with DuckDuckGo, if you ever listen to their CEO speak, that's all they push, because that's what makes them different. You have to have something different in order to be able to push your product. The Ladders, a career site again. You had Monster, you have Indeed, you have all these things where you could find jobs. What the heck makes you different? The Ladders, it's not as clear as it used to be on the homepage, but essentially it was, originally it was finding jobs for people who want to make over 100K. So again, this was something different. You go to this job center for people who are much more experienced, want higher paying jobs. That's something different, and that was front and center of their advertising campaign. Square. When Square came out, Square is what you put into your iPhones. You can immediately anyone can scan a credit card. Companies hadn't, other competitors, when you got it, you couldn't start doing it immediately. And on Square it was, start selling immediately. As soon as you got this thing, you can immediately start swiping cards. You can immediately start your business, because any gaps and, being able to take transactions could hurt your business. So that was something different. And that's what they started. That was what their campaign was, start selling immediately. You get it, you plug it in, you're good to go, done. Desk Beer is more of a new one that I found that I like. And their value proposition in this case is that they just have a unique product. All right, exclusively they send craft beers, and they do wines, I believe, as well, to your office, and that's front and center. That's something different. The whole product is kind of different. It's a new category, so make that front and center. And then I want to finish my examples with Zappos. Zappos, from the beginning, has been very clear that they don't do anything different from a product point of view. They sell shoes, and you can get shoes anywhere else, and there is no, from a product point of view, there's no advantage. They're not the cheapest. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but they're certainly not the cheapest. And they don't have anything exclusive on their site. You got shoes that you can get on a lot of other sites now, but there's okay, so we can't stand out. There's a perfect example of how can we make ourselves different. And their value proposition and their whole marketing, and if you ask anybody, what do you think about Zappos? It's about their customer service. So now they have front and center on the website, powered by service. Okay, so they looked at ourselves like, hey, we have nothing different, but what's missing from these other companies? What makes us different? So there's two parts to this. One is they decided what's going to make them different, and that is, we're going to have an amazing customer service, an amazing customer experience on our website, and that's going to be the focus of it. Customer support is front and center of their marketing campaigns, and that's the second part. After you find out what that difference is, that's what you got to market harder than anything else. That's what you have to put front and center, is what makes you different. Okay, so just a key takeaway from today: find your Corinthian leather. Find your what makes you different. Don't make it up. Don't lie. That's the last thing I want you to do. But work hard to find what makes you different. And here's the thing: if you have nothing that makes you different, and you still want to pursue your campaign, your new product, your business as a whole, your brand, you gotta make something different. Then you gotta find something, some gap that nobody else has. Find your Corinthian leather, and that's the way that you're going to be able to succeed in business. All right, so thank you for listening, and I will talk to you again next week.